So one last speaker that we are welcoming now. We have here Becky Lyon. Lyon. I like Lyon more than Lion. It's a strong one. And so we're going to hear from Becky, and then after that we'll have Q&A, and then we'll have a little break, but then we're coming back for more discussion after. So Becky's current research is centered around the future of life in a world where biology and technology combine, and I'm going to try very hard with this, techno-bio-ecology. How might humans deliberately or inadvertently affect the future evolution and adaptation of life forms? That's a question that Becky is asking, and Becky combines scientific research and fiction with materials experimentation as a means of modeling accelerator evolutions via artifacts, objects, assemblies, and moving image. Her output serves as a stimulus for open discourse on current and future relationships with nature. She's fascinated by the creativity and resilience inherent in nature in the face of environmental challenges, and believes new states of nature will prevail, with or without us. That's a very interesting concept that I think about very often. A true interdisciplinarian, Becky has explored life at the edges through scent and sculpture as at Science Gallery Dublin, explored the geologic body in the desert of southern Spain, created meditative visuals for a machine as a part of the Athens Digital Arts Festival Singularity Now program, and explored notions of digital creatures. But I think she's here. I'm just going to shut up. And you just crack on, because I'm aware there's more here, but you tell us.
Okay. Welcome everybody to the Techno-Ecology. Digital code as legitimate life matter. 0101 replaces or syncs with ATCG. A binary being tethers to a tactile host, a hardware body instantly becoming expressed in material form. Symbiosis exhibited. The digimocule inhabits a physical shell in a dance of object-host relations. Analogous with a single-celled amoeba inhabiting a dead sponge skeleton, software species take shelter in the scaffold of others. A hack of its host, or an imitation of it. An attempt to assimilate with it, or a bid to belong. Part digital infection, part CRISPR contamination, double data storage, a lively parasite, a mind-body parallel. Abiogenesites. Moments where the inert and the inanimate animates. Forms in correlation with their inhabited surrounding space, becoming a literal reflection of the glacial and gradual pace of wild evolution. The tethered and calcified at tension with the untethered, the escaped, emerging, escaping. The choke of detritus subverted, exoskeletal, petrified post-petroleum. Site-specific beings mutate resourcefully in situ from our metallo-plastiglomerate human archive in a show of creative nature. Strange beauty, weird assemblies, freakishly fantastical relations. Atmos synthetica. An amorphous organism in concert with the atmosphere. A budding chrysalis of a functional organ. A respiring surface alive with metabolism, inhaling toxicity from the air. extended photochromosynthesis, a dazzling, transformative skin, aflutter with glittering liveliness, defines its otherness and belies its naturalness. Embryonic yet ancient, the solitary skin is in valuable service to its fellow inhabitants. Origins unknown, xenohybridity assumed. Biopunks. An assembly of accelerated organisms and ambiguous bodily features. New species of materialised form appear to emerge from cross-kingdom DNA with hybrid morphologies, both faintly familiar and wildly other. The embryonic bleaching hints at fresh forms in progress, but are they artefacts of the lab or offspring of wild, cultured procreation? Wondrous expressions of human creativity or mutant monstrosities? Each nascent biology exudes its own landscape of textures, hidden capacities, unknown and untapped adaptations and visual novelties. Terra Spiritus, a contour of sentient terrain, landscape as deconstructed, uncoupled organism and lively substrate. Out of our techno-ashes, the earth bioremediates. Creative strains of bacteria emulsify e-waste into re-sparked illumination in a literal pulsing of life. Terrain is skin, an active membrane dividing environments, and a fertile medium for release and reveal of material exchange between atmosphere, deep geological pollutants, and its extreme inhabitants. Field Notes from a Technobiology is situated in an imaginary, post-human future, where biology and technology have converged to create new life forms, new lively forms, and new self-sustaining ecosystems free from human intervention. What kind of beings may emerge from the debris of DNA editing experiments at the meeting point of nourishing earth and electrical waste, where digital code meets biological hardware? Each sculpture is a speculative body imbued with fictitious narratives that conceptually, materially, and sensorially express ideas about the future of life and its origins in such a hybrid world. That's not me. That is an intervention. Oh, okay. I like it. Nearly done. I can work with that. Have to get back into scene now. Sorry. That's okay. Okay, where were we before the techno intervention? Each component has come into existence from the human archive. Oh, this is sci-fi. Each component has come into existence from the human archive in various degrees and using various evolutionary strategies, from the directed evolution of gene editing to the happenstance abiogenesis from anthropogenic sediment, xenotransplantation, and perhaps even new forms of evolution through geo-bio-symbiosis. Art and fiction is deployed as an alternative virtual reality. Scientific research, artistic inquiry, and imaginative odd fantasy invite you to reflect and discuss our features through a compositional experiment of and a new world. The project gestures towards a post-Anthropocene planet, a new kind of independent and self-generating system free from human intervention, where symbiosis and cooperation between organism and landscape is conditioned to flourish. The project suggests a positive future trajectory in which the convergence of technology and biology results not in an abomination, but an allegiance that helps to restore the planet. In this particular scenario, Post-wild naturalness points towards bacteria ingesting and generating electricity from human pollution, photosynthesizing membranes sequestering carbon from the atmosphere, and even plastic as a structural material for new organisms. Remediation and recovery, it seems, lies within biology. All matter, even that perceived as synthetic, expired, dead, or disposed of, is lively, expressive, and at some stage awakened in its infinite cycle. Conceptually, the project emphasises the creaturing of material and the sculpting of evolution to communicate ideas about life and liveliness. Material is deployed as metaphor, or even as proxy, to illustrate the spectrum of potential relationships between organic, geologic, digital, and the potential for any material to become the starting material for life. Okay, that was a little snapshot into my own radical ecology and my weird mind. If you want to hear more about that and find out more about the sculptures and the processes that inspired that, I have created a digital zine. Actually, I have a physical zine, but in the interest of sustainability, just drop me a note and I'll happily send you a zine and would welcome you to carry on a conversation with me. Thank you very much.
So, anyone wants to hit Becky with some questions?
Yeah, this is what you've done is poetic, fantastical, phantasmagoric. I wonder whether you connected also with the world of science, because it's all actually really happening. And two examples that struck me once was that they've discovered bacteria that eat plastic. They're already adapting and using them so they use it to biodegrade plastic. And just the other day I read about a bee colony where the bees had actually chosen to use waste plastic to make their hive.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Basically, yes, bang on. So this is actually the product of my final project for the MA Art and Science at Central St Martin's. So naturally, it's a product of an art and science baby, and for my practice in particular, it is literally all about finding the wonder that's already happening in nature, going to nature as my first reference point, and then taking what's already happening, throwing some imagination and fiction on top of that to say, okay, this is happening now. Let's jump a few scenes on, my scene being Anthropocene, Technocene, whatever the next scene is, and kind of speculate where, how nature might find a way to evolve, adapt, survive out of the situation that we're putting into the environment right now. And you're quite right, so the Terra Spiritus was born out of some research where they're finding bacteria that is not only munching through e-waste but generating electricity as well. And the abiogenesites are born out of, unfortunately, but kind of in a show of creative nature, sea creatures that are actually starting to use plastic as part of their own structural scaffold, and so forth. Each of these projects has more information. I'll happily send you the zine if you want to get.
From particular
absolutely.
Things
So it's
about.
kind of like this is actually happening. Nature does do this, despite of whatever we're putting in the air, what we're putting in the oceans, what we're putting in the soil. It finds a way. So it's kind of almost amplifying that, and it's a means for us to reflect on it.
Yes, example of adaptation and resilience and how,
Yeah, absolutely. And different ways of evolution. So,
Yeah. Anyone, any more questions?
Everyone wants a drink. Wrap it up. Let's have a little refresh.
Yeah, I just want to throw a quick one, and maybe you did cover it, but what kind of collaborations have you kind of come across through this work? I see, because it's super wide, like you're reaching really far into different disciplines, which sounds like, wow, how you managing to kind of harness all of that?
Yeah, well, took it all. I'm naturally extremely curious and very excited, and get constantly inspired by nature itself. I guess my common denominator thread is evolution, and kind of evolution as a creative process, not a thing. The different ways that nature works with evolution to overcome
any of the environmental threats or challenges or kind of species challenges. So kind of that the evolution is key. And then I guess this project is the starting point of a wider project looking at this idea of liveliness. So if a living form is here and this is death or supposedly inanimate material, what's the spectrum of liveliness between there? And then obviously in particular in relation to this idea of technology and biology. So this is your grid. You've got technology, technology, biology, dead or inanimate, and lively here, and then this map of forms. So on one hand it might be CRISPR organisms that have escaped the lab and mated with wild organisms, so something kind of very directed evolution by humans. It could be like the digimacule, a digital life form, so is that actually a life form, or is it a lively form, or is it a metaphor for life? There's a whole map of creatures waiting to find form and be created. So this is the starting point of the research, and as gentlemen pointed out, I do collaborate very closely with scientists to really understand the mechanisms behind that, and then that almost becomes my brief to respond creatively and to create a story around it, so I can communicate what's happening to a wider audience and start a conversation.
Fascinating.
Can everyone hear okay? I feel like I'm mumbling to myself a bit.
Just about.
Deeply
Chit-chat.
philosophical.
Yeah.
Very, very interesting. Thank you so much. I think let's just. Oh no, there's a
Can I just
question.
ask one question? I'm just struck by the idea that there's an end of humanity in what you're saying, and I'd really like to put that in perspective because we are humans listening to humans talk.
Yeah.
You are looking at the obliteration of humanity and what happens after we've fucked it up. Is that right?
Well.
Is that good?
I've been purposely obscure about whether humans are in this. So at no point have I said humans have been wiped out. What I'm saying is this ecosystem is happening whether we're in it or not, and it's reflective of what happens in nature. Why is it that nature is able to take what it needs and nothing more, sustain its own population by, you don't see like greedy lions hoarding up because they fancy it. Why is nature able to cooperate and find symbiosis with each other and provide services? That's why it's so catastrophic when a teeny tiny insect is wiped out of an ecosystem, because it has this knock-on effect on everything around it. So what I'm saying in this is new types of nature will find a way to prevail. The question is, do we see ourselves in that picture? And how do we feel about this? I actually think it would be quite interesting to do almost like another iteration or a parallel iteration of this, where there is more of an explicit human-nature interaction. But I just feel so many of these scenarios centre around the human, and I feel like, to me, I kind of see this as a bit of a utopia, but a utopia in that, but we just don't happen to necessarily be an instrumental part of making that utopia happen. So it's a question of kind of like, you carry on doing that, nature's still going to crack on and it will find a way to flourish, regardless of us. It just decides if we're happy with that narrative or we think we've got it in us to collaborate with nature and prevail like them.
Thank you.
This gentleman really wants to ask a question.
I think it's going to be a horrible one.
Most of us don't have the opportunity to sort of develop artistically and scientifically by the nature of how we tend to be educated. Have you travelled from science to art, or from art to science, or have you always been able to maintain those together?
I burst out of nowhere. So I did. So I actually returned to art school after 10 years in industry. So I used to do a lot of cultural programming, kind of trends, cultural research and writing. So I was always researching. I always knew what was happening in the landscape. But I thought there was a space to create new narratives around it. So I went back to art school to give it a go.
You didn't come from a scientific
No.
training?
No. So I've done a lot of research around technology and sustainability and material futures and so on and so forth. So I guess I had that, I was primed, so I was aware of what was happening in the landscape, at least on a secondary level in terms of what designers and artists were doing. But yeah, I kind of made it my mission to go to source basically, and try and combine the both in some kind of effect.
Very successful.
Thank you.
We'll see.